On today's episode of Titus and Tate, Tate is a Hall of Famer now. Is that how it works? What happened? Tate went to the Hall of Fame. A lot of guys get inducted. Tony Kukoc, I saw, was shouting out Jordan as Jordan was just. Did Jordan introduce Kukoc? Is that what happened?
No, the way that they do this is so Ahmad Rashad is the host, and he is the one who introduces like a package about the player, and then the player has two people that are kind of like his confidants, mentors that
like sit off to the side.
Yeah, that sit behind them and kind of just, you know, are like reacting to the stories, you know, giving the nod of approval. Like maybe Isaiah Thomas shed a little tear when Chris Webber was talking, you know, and it's a beautiful moment.
You're like the best man at a wedding.
Yes.
You just like are standing off to the side. You don't get to really do anything.
Yes.
You have to save it. Maybe there's a reception where Michael Jordan grabs the mic and talks about Tony Kukoc, but we didn't get to see it.
This was the one room where you actually saw like the pecking order of basketball. You know what I mean? So I learned a lot this weekend. I figured
boots on the ground.
Boots on the ground. Like, yeah, I mean, we got real research. We got real reports. I can't wait to talk.
All right.
about it.
Speaking of boots on the ground, the other two-thirds
Jim, put your boots
show,
down.
The other two-thirds of the show, Jim and I, which as I say that, it sounds like a female American gladiator or something.
Jim and I.
Was that actually?
What's your
was
sign?
that actually one of the?
It was a man.
Jim and I was a man.
Yeah.
Oh.
Mm.
All right.
Interesting.
Never mind. We were in Columbus, and we have some stories to share.
Yes.
We were.
I was keeping up from afar. I will say I did not watch the game live, but you know I would check on my phone. I was hoping that it was going to turn around, but you had told me going into this weekend you were worried about the vibes.
The vibes were off the moment I stepped off the plane, and I'm not just retroactively saying that. I said the vibes are off to like 1,000 people, and it was probably one of those self-fulfilling prophecies where I just kept saying the vibes were off so much that they just kept getting even more off. But anyway, we're gonna recount our time in Columbus because there is at least one story I want to share with you.
I need to hear all the stories.
You're gonna get a kick out of it. So there's that. There's also, is there anything going on in college basketball?
Paolo Banchero.
Yeah.
There's Paolo Banchero.
Maybe we'll
news.
check in on what
That's
the hell
it.
is going on with Duke. Because it's been, what, 2 weeks now since we talked about Duke?
We got to lock in. Yeah.
But for the most part, I want to hear about this Hall of Fame situation because they chose the first week of NFL weekend to induct people in the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Great timing on their part.
And 2 months removed from doing it for the 2020 class. So
Perfect.
Yeah,
Perfect.
right on time.
Everyone
was locked in, as you'd expect. Great job for the basketball. You know, good job for the basketball calendar.
That's coming up. But first,
Woody Durham, also in the Hall of Fame.
correct?
There is no such thing as the NBA Hall of
Correct,
Fame.
yes.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that is a very good distinction because a lot of people, this is the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame.
Right.
Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. That is the full name. The Hoop Hall is what they want it to be known as so the kids can, you know,
Ooh,
lock
Hall.
in
Yeah.
at Hoop Hall.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, there is no NBA Hall of Fame. There was a lot of NBA, you know, big powers that be that want to create apparently an NBA Hall of Fame and make it a separate entity. But I hope, for the sake of basketball, that you and I love that it does not happen.
Okay, so it is the Basketball Hall of Fame in that your NBA career does not necessarily dictate whether you get in, right? Because
yes.
we know that college coaches get in. Jay Wright was inducted, was he not? Do I have this?
Yes, I was there. I saw him get inducted.
There is a college.
I was at that game.
There is a college basketball Hall of Fame, I believe.
Yes. That's separate.
It's all very confusing because it does feel like it.
So to make it simple, basketball was born in Springfield, Massachusetts. The game itself by Dr. James Naismith. He was
a Canadian who was not born in Springfield.
yes, but he was a gym teacher, you know, a professor.
Yeah.
You know, of sport at the school.
The professor.
The original doctor. And Dr. James Naismith said, we're going to play this game. I think there was like 20 people originally on the court, peach baskets, the whole 9 yards. But basketball was born in Springfield. This is where, you know, they have the Hall of Fame. It's a beautiful facility. Jerry Colangelo has a lot. Literally, the court in the middle of the facility is the Jerry Colangelo Court of Dreams.
Well, this is what I wanted to get to is that it is not the NBA Hall of Fame. There is a college Hall of Fame, so I would assume that the NCAA cares more about that one, even though there's not.
I think they care more about that. I think this is the one.
Okay, because I was curious about the power structure at in Springfield. Is Adam Silver calling the shots? It sounds like
No.
Jerry Colangelo is.
Jerry Colangelo is calling the shots.
So is this a USA Basketball Hall of
Yes.
Fame?
Yes, exactly.
So if a guy, I have been, by the way.
The NBA is in association with the NBA.
I have been, and my one memory was that it wasn't as cool as I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
That's just what I remember, like walking around being like, I was
So they
a little
updated it 3
underwhelmed.
years ago.
Okay,
So
I went before that. Okay.
This is a brand new facility that they just like renovated the
Yeah.
whole thing, but it's active. So they changed the displays, right? So like you can go, in 2 weeks from now, and it will be different than what I saw probably, this past weekend. So right now, Jimmy Goldstein, who the NBA superfan, he has like a huge space in the Basketball Hall of Fame, which used to be Craig Sager apparently.
Yeah.
Kobe Bryant has his own unbelievable area that they have with him, and Deer Basketball is in there, and they have some great memorabilia. But then it's kind of all hodgepodge together, you know what I mean? So like you're looking at a display case, it'll have Clyde Frazier's suit, it'll have Michael Jordan's Jordan 1, it'll have, some other piece like AI's shorts or something, and then it would be like, NBA style icons, you know what I mean? So like it's very much like not, this is the case for Dean Smith, it'll be like Dean Smith, Pat Summitt, and someone else in there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it'll be like greatness, great coaches or whatever, like, pioneer coaches. So it's the way that it's cool that it's a hodgepodge like that. But if you go there and you're specifically like, I want to see the Dr. J display, it's not necessarily a guarantee. Like if you're a Kobe fan and you went this past weekend, you're like, we got the Kobe. Like we went full Kobe, so this was great for me. You know what I mean?
Kobe was the 2020 class that they inducted last week.
Yes, exactly. Yes. 2 weeks ago, and that was the other. KG was there, who was just inducted in that same class, but he was there to support Paul Pierce. And
I have always been extremely confused about the Basketball Hall of Fame because it does feel like
basketball
there's so
was
many
born in
of them.
Springfield.
Yeah,
this is the one.
But it feels like there's so many. It also feels because each school has their own Hall of Fame.
Yes.
So like Jay Wright has probably been inducted into 6 Hall of Fames already.
Yes.
But then it's just the mechanisms at play. It feels like everyone gets into the Basketball Hall of Fame as well. It feels like if it's the literal. They're the one Hall of Fame that's literally
that was a
fame.
lot. There were
like
a lot
if
of
you've heard
old
of the guy
heads this weekend that were talking about like it needs to be tougher to get in.
If you've heard of the guy, he's in.
Yeah.
If he ever sold 5 jerseys, he's in. I just looked it up, by the way. Oscar Schmidt, who's the Brazilian dude, the guy who I think is he like considered like the guy it was Sabonis. I remember being Arvydas Sabonis and Oscar Schmidt were like the 2 names that always get thrown out as like the guys who could have killed it in the NBA.
But they came too late.
They came too late, or like they didn't. I don't know if Oscar Schmidt even played in the NBA.
I don't think he did. That's what I was trying to think of.
But
maybe
I looked it up, and Oscar Schmidt is in fact in the Basketball Hall of Fame because that was my litmus test. I was like, is this the USA Basketball Hall of Fame, or is this the world?
This is the world.
Okay.
But Team USA runs it.
But Team USA runs it. That's what I mean. It's confusing. Because I'm sure there are a lot of guys.
Basketball runs basketball around the world because, like, as we all know, it is the American sport, even though it was created by a Canadian.
I'm sure there are a lot of guys around the world that are better than Mitch Richmond that did not make it in because we never heard of them because they never played in America. That's all I'm going to say about the Basketball Hall of Fame. But this was your first time there.
First time at the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. I like I said, I don't remember much about it other than just being underwhelmed. I went one time and I was walking around. I don't know what I expected. I like the court. They have the big court there, right?
Yeah.
They play games there, right?
It's the Jerry Colangelo Court of Dreams.
Yeah. And I honestly, I walked around. I think it was also like I was probably, I probably thought I was smarter than everyone. That like I walked around, I was like, I know that. Michael Jordan, yeah, I've heard of that. I knew that. I already knew that. I already knew all that. Don't care. Knew all that. And then I just went to the court and just put up shots.
Yeah, I shot a lot. I shot a lot. And they have the peach baskets, you know what I mean? So you can shoot into the peach baskets. Not a very forgiving rim, but a lot of fun to shoot on those. And yeah, like you said, I mean, it's not. We went to the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame, during the Final Four. I feel like that was more catered to specific moments in time, and they'd have the bench. You know what I mean? It's kind of it's more thought out. It does feel like this Hall of Fame. There's so much that they're trying to pack into the space that they just have like it's a little bit here, a little bit there, a little reminder here. So like I said, if you wanted to go for one player that you're like, I want to really get in on Bill Russell, it might not. You might need to go to the Bill Russell Hall of Fame, which I'm sure there's probably one of those too, or like wherever he has his whole setup. But it was a great time to see this many. I mean, this was the most basketball people I've ever seen in one place ever in my life. You know what I mean?
More
like,
so than like summer league.
Yeah. Oh my God. I went to the bathroom. I ran into Eric Spoelstra, Pat Riley, Ray Allen. And
In the bathroom?
No, like I literally was walking in the bathroom.
Okay.
They were coming out, and I was like, "What were you guys doing in there?" No, I'm kidding. But like you just go, you literally walk around and you would see any and everybody. And it was also like my first time, kind of seeing, like I said, the pecking order of the totem pole, so to speak. Like LeBron's deep, he's way back here, you know what I mean? And like Bill Russell was number 1.
Yeah.
And then you can kind of fill in the gaps in between. But there's also like generational divides. There was a huge like rivalry, tension that was brewing in the room because Chris Bosh is getting in with his Miami Heat crew. Paul Pierce is getting in, obviously, with the Celtics crew. So, like, Doc Rivers, KG, Paul Pierce are sitting here. Chris Bosh, D. Wade, Pat Riley, LeBron James, Ray Allen sitting over here. And, I was fortunate enough to see the seating the way it was set up before they actually had the event. And Ray Allen was next to Doc Rivers. And Ray Allen moved his seat to Miami Heat territory. So that was the big update.
He moved his seat?
Yeah. Well, I mean, when it actually happened, the actual ceremony, he was with the Heat. So if you ever wonder, like, what side Ray Allen is on, and I mean, I guess we all know, but it was official at the Hall of Fame. You kind of saw enemy lines. And Ray Allen is on the other side. KG, Paul Pierce, Doc Rivers on one side. And, I'm in a fantasy football league with KG and Paul Pierce. They're both great guys. Paul Pierce said there's no bad blood between him and Ray Allen, that he loves Ray Allen. So, there's nothing that's really brewing other than the fact that it does seem like Ray Allen has been adopted by the Heat. You know what I mean? He's a part of Heat culture.
Wow.
And Pat Riley was like sitting behind all of them. I learned a lot about the social setup of basketball at large this weekend.
Ray Allen, I learned from Twitter, that one famous tweet of his, that he does love switching back and forth, Joe. we do know that about Ray Allen.
Nice.
It's true.
But I mean, those are the big takeaways. I mean, Bill Russell is amazing to see Bill Russell in person. How did they
sit the Celtics versus the Heat? Was there like the guys who
all
get
the
inducted?
Hall of Famers are on the front row, right? Like in a
but was there like a hierarchy to the Hall of Famers themselves, or was it not that deep? There was.
Yes. Well, I mean, I don't think it's I don't think it's necessarily a thing that's it's an unspoken.
Like, was Jay Wright like?
Calipari was like midway back, right? So that's what we're saying. Like,
No, I mean the guys getting inducted this time.
The guys getting inducted are front row.
They're front row.
They're front row. So like
but
Chris
could you
Webber,
sense like a better front row? Like who was the head of the class?
I mean, Bill Russell had his own row. I'm not even kidding. Like Bill Russell, like there are the normal seats. Bill Russell had 3 seats that were literally in front of those seats, just to like set the tone that like Bill Russell is the GOAT.
It's like no matter you're getting inducted today, but you'll never be better than me. Just
absolutely.
FYI.
And then when Bill Russell went up on stage, like it was every legend imaginable that went up with him. It's like Spencer Haywood comes out of nowhere. Dr. J walked him up. Dr. J is front of the class. You know what I mean? Spencer Haywood is front of the class because these guys in the basketball world, it's like, we have the media perception and the fan perception of like who's the greatest.
Yeah.
But then like the guys that played the game know who is. So then it's an understood like totem pole as to where you sit, where you stand, where you can be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like Dr. J and like some of these guys, they're just on a different echelon. You know?
Should
like Michael Jordan would defer to Dr. J in these types of settings, or to Bill Russell.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because that's what it is.
Right.
That's the game you're playing, and it's funny to see like D. Wade and LeBron and those guys exist in this world because in the media fan perspective, you're like, if LeBron's in the room, all eyes are on LeBron, and like I didn't even see LeBron.
But yeah,
and then I realized he was over there, and I was like, oh, LeBron is here. You know what I mean? But like Michael's here, LeBron's here. You know what I mean? And then you're like, oh, he is here.
That is interesting because I guess you take that exact room of people and put it in a casino in Vegas at Summer League, and the dynamics are completely different.
Yeah. No
like
kid is running over to Spencer Haywood and it's like,
But at the Hall of Fame, that's the one room where, like, almost the older you are, the cooler you are.
Or just the more legendary you are.
Yeah, you're just a legend,
Yeah, exactly. And, Barkley, and it's cool to see the separate generations kind of interact with each other and pay that homage. But, like, Dr. J's the coolest one in the room, I mean, there's just... There's levels to all of it, and there's also, it was so long, it's such a long ceremony. You know what I mean? Like, Chris Webber was first. He gives this great speech as he goes through it all. And
technical foul.
Yeah, I know. It was great for us. You know what I mean? I was, like, making all these connections with everything. I was wanted to shout Woody Durham as he was doing it. But, Yeah, I mean, every single one of these guys had their own journey, own story, their own legend to think. Like I said, Isaiah Thomas was there, and he apparently talked to Chris Webber in high school when he was having a real down patch and was like, I got your back, whatever you need.
Yeah.
Like, I'm here for you. And he was like, that meant a lot to me. I was like, damn, Isaiah Thomas cares about me.
Yeah.
And, you know, they showed Chris Webber's mom and dad, and they're like bawling, crying. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just a real, it's like it's a finish line. It was beautiful to see, and got some great stories. And, you know, Howard Garfinkel got into the Hall of Fame, 5-star basketball camp. I'm doing a little series on him, and you know, to have Ahmad Rashad, who I love, he's like my hero as far as being a broadcaster, you know, do all that stuff. It all just kind of came in line.
Ahmad Rashad is
unbelievable.
An legend.
He's
is he
so
in the Hall
good.
of Fame?
He should be. He has to be. He has to be.
Inside stuff with Ahmad Rashad.
Oh, so
we
good.
were reminiscing right before the show about you were watching.
He was very happy on Saturday about the Oregon Ducks.
We don't need to talk about that. Who cares? Who cares? Stupid trap game. It was a trap game. It was a schedule loss.
Honestly, always a trap game. Bad matchup.
Bad matchup.
Andy
dude.
Katz.
We weren't making shots. Yeah, that was bad matchup.
We just hope that
it was a
sticks
classic Andy Katz bad matchup.
I want some kid to go up to Andy and just be like, "That was a bad matchup, right, Andy?" And he's like, "What?
Yeah. Yeah.
What are you talking about?" Also, shout out to Tony Kukoc. I love Tony Kukoc. Also got in the Hall of Fame, and also made the point known that if you play team basketball, you'll get your individual accolades. You know what I mean? In the world of brand building and all this other BS that we all laugh about.
Yeah, dude. Like every single guy that like took a poop in the Boston Celtics locker room in the 60s or 70s is in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
every single guy.
Every guy.
Every one of them.
Satch Sanders in the Hall of Fame. Literally.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I wonder if the guys from the 08 Celtics dynasty, if all those guys are. Yeah, they're all gonna be in. Is Kendrick Perkins getting in?
Scalabrini.
It's the only one year.
Scalabrini goes in as a commentator and a contributor.
What dynasty was better, the Heat 2-year title dynasty with LeBron and D Wade, or the Celtics 1-year title dynasty?
Well, it's like the Celtics
which
had
dynasty was
the Celtics had 3 years, right? That they were really like 08, 09, 2010, and then the Heat had 4 years. So I think you have to give it to the Heat. But like as
two titles versus one title.
But it's funny because like as they're sitting in the room, right? It's like the tension brewing of like these two. You know, it's kind of like the Pistons and the
old
Bulls
Big East, baby.
were sitting in a room together, and at the same time you're like, you guys should just
you mentioned Ahmad Rashad though. It got me because we were talking before we sat down to do the show about what were you watching, some Nickelodeon documentary?
Oh yeah, the
we're
Orange
just,
Years.
We're just eating member berries left and right talking about
I love Nickelodeon.
Now I'm thinking about Ahmad Rashad inside stuff.
Dude.
Oh my god.
It's so good. And see, everything is orange. You know what I mean? Orange is a happy color, and that's why Nickelodeon, they really leaned into the orange. You look at the Basketball Hall of Fame, everything is orange. 5-star basketball, orange. Orange is a happy color. Orange is a good color. You know what I mean? And I didn't really understand that, but then when you're watching this Nickelodeon doc, you know, they're talking about these things and like being able to have a brand like MTV that was, you know, it could be manipulated, it could be different things, but at the end of the day, it's always distinct. It's always that orange. You know what I mean? That kind of slaps you across the face. And as you're a kid, you're just like, oh, that's Nick. But then you think about all the thoughts, and you know, it was great. I love Nickelodeon. Nickelodeon's the best, and that whole team. I mean, the shows that they brought in were like, we need 3 TV shows, and they go out and it's like, we got Doug, we got Rugrat. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like everything they did was a hit. Unbelievable.
Hit after hit.
Hit after hit. And Disney couldn't keep up. And then
Disney was reeling.
Disney took their president, bought her away. You know what I mean?
Disney bought Doug, right? I remember Doug being on ABC. That was a huge scandal when that all happened. And suddenly I was turning on Nickelodeon to find
Shout
Doug.
out to Jim Jenkins.
I couldn't find Doug, and Doug was on like ABC on Saturday mornings. And I was like, what the hell's happening
with
here?
Recess?
Yeah. I liked Recess.
I love Recess.
Recess is good.
It's a great show.
I don't know. I personally believe that the world was better during that era that I was a kid, that I was coming of age.
Yeah, me too.
I personally believe that was
Not to make it, you know, personal.
And I think all other eras in world history have not been as good as that era when I had no responsibilities. You could just watch cartoons and Ahmad Rashad on Inside Stuff.
Oh, God. Ahmad Rashad.
So I think we as a society should do everything we can to go back to those times.
Agreed. I need to get out of these times, that's for sure. Can we talk about your times this weekend?
We can. I mean, is that it? You have nothing else?
That's the Hall of Fame.
The Hall of Fame. And so this is the Hall of Fame that when Dick Vitale's losing his mind about Bob Huggins not being in, it's this one.
Yes.
It's not the college one. It's not the West Virginia one.
It's the Naismith.
This is the Naismith?
Yes.
This is actually called the Naismith?
Yeah.
This is called the Naismith Hall of Fame?
It's the Hoop Hall.
Well, this is the problem. There's like 12 names.
No, this is James Naismith in Springfield, Massachusetts, the founder of
I got to be
basketball.
honest. I don't know that I thought it was just the basketball. Because, like, even I'm looking at the shirt you're wearing right here. It says Basketball Hall of Fame on the logo.
I mean, that's the branding of it. Look what color it is.
But
Orange.
what are we
We're
doing?
happy.
Put the Naismith Hall of Fame on the. You can't call it the Naismith. Make the logo something else, and then call it Hoop Hall on Twitter.
Naismith,
That's confused. That's
no,
3 Hall of Fames in one.
Naismith is implicit because if we're talking basketball, it goes back to the founder. You know what I mean? If we're talking about flight, it goes back to the Wright brothers, specifically in Kitty Hawk. Specifically in Kitty Hawk.
Just like James Naismith.
Strictly North Carolina Flight Brothers. You know what I mean?
Who, just like James Naismith, were not from the place where they invented the thing.
Well, that's
but
that's where
the place
it
took
happened.
the thing.
That's where it happened.
That's confusing. That's all I'm saying. We gotta work on the branding. I think that's it.
It's the Hoop Hall at the kids.
The because the baseball's not the Doubleday Hall of Fame. I don't know.
Every Hall of Fame has its own distinct. You know, I love Canton. I love that it's in Canton. You know, and it's kind of like Springfield. It's like, what else is here? Just the Basketball Hall of Fame, and they do love basketball. Had a lot of great conversations with locals, bartenders, whoever.
Yeah, it's Springfield. That's a bummer though that it's in Springfield, Mass.
I said Rick Adelman got in the Hall of Fame to this guy that was sitting at the bar, and he starts just going off about how much he loves Rick Adelman. I'm like, I didn't even know. I mean, Rick Adelman is one of the nicest people in the world, but I was like, these people are basketball people.
Let's take Carolina and Indiana out of the equation because that's our answer for both. Obviously, that's pretty obvious. If you have to move the Basketball Hall of Fame from Springfield, where are we putting it?
Lawrence, Kansas.
Yeah, you answered that too fast.
Kansas is my number 2 basketball home because it like weirdly connects to, you know, it's like the Yellow Brick Road, you know, Dorothy, you know what I mean? I don't know. Kansas feels like a home base of some sort.
It's like,
Dean Smith's from there, you know. I don't know.
It's
Naismith.
like I'm trying to we should sell a cartoon to Nickelodeon where a cartoon James Naismith is come from Canada. James. He finds these magic jelly beans in Springfield, Massachusetts, and he has to take them to Lawrence, Kansas. And along the way, he's going through Indiana, and he spills a bunch of them.
Yeah.
And then basketball grows in Indiana as he gets to Lawrence.
He's like
Kansas.
Johnny Appleseed.
And then it just grows a lot, and he like diverts to Lexington and Louisville.
Yeah, He just goes down. Because I think Kentucky
and then he
fans
skips over Columbia, Missouri. Because
Kentucky will be very up in arms because they're like, it should be us. Why aren't you mentioning? And I will throw up Kentucky is you could put Kentucky in the mix there. I wouldn't be upset about that.
Kansas City's not a bad one though. Like Lawrence isn't bad. Lawrence is slightly too far from Kansas City.
Wichita maybe.
Yeah. Or just put it. Yeah. I can't even think of where else. Lawrence makes the most sense. I guess.
I mean,
you don't want to put it in like New York or L.A.
No, I mean they would argue, you know, the New Yorkers.
You should just do it in
Put
Vegas.
it in Yonkers.
Put it in Vegas as like a pop-up shop for summer.
Jim's saying Yonkers. He's agreeing. Yonkers is
the Mecca.
the Mecca of what?
Basketball.
Is that what it's called?
Madison Square Garden.
The Mecca of Elton John concerts?
Billy Joel.
It's strictly
right.
Joel.
He had his number retired. 12 concerts, sold out straight.
That's awesome. Taylor Swift has hers retired at the Staples Center.
That's right.
Yeah.
I remember, speaking of Kansas City, I remember going to the Big 12 tournament. God, it's probably close to 10 years ago now, 6, 7, something like that. And they had one banner in the, is that called the Sprint Center in Kansas City too? I forget
I think it maybe was
at the time.
At one point, yeah.
They have one banner in there because they built this facility as people were doing and probably still doing, where you build an arena and you're like, if you build it, they will come. We'll build the arena, and I'm sure we'll get an NBA team and a hockey team and everything else to come. That didn't happen. So they just got this arena in Kansas City that has never hosted like a team. And they had one banner hanging, and it was Garth Brooks played a concert here once. I was like,
that's like their claim to fame. It's like Garth Brooks has been here. Yes.
You look up and it just was a Garth Brooks guy.
Speaking of banners, Miami Heat, they are the king of banners. I did not know this. I found this out this weekend. The Miami Heat retired Michael Jordan's jersey.
Oh, you didn't know? I've known that for a while. Yeah.
Maybe it was like something that I've lost in the archives.
They retired Dan Marino's too. Miami Heat.
That's on. I like lost that in my archives. But like this weekend, some guy said that to me with a straight face, and I was like, what?
Wait.
That's the ultimate respect, though. I think that's why I like the Miami Heat a little bit.
Doesn't Bam wear number 13 though?
Yeah.
So how's Marino?
No.
So you can't wear a Miami Dolphins jersey and play basketball?
Bam got a banner.
Miami.
Bam got a banner for the gold medal. He's getting a banner himself. So he's already going to be up there. The Miami Heat, they're the best.
We got to
at
clean up
banners.
the Heat culture. We got to get Duncan back on the show
they're
to talk
the
about
best at
that.
banners. They're like, if you do something, we
got
put
to
you
clean
up.
that up. That is disgraceful.
Yes.
Finkel and Einhorn.
They also are retired.
Yep.
That's pretty good.
Should we take a break? I want to talk about Columbus because I have one story I want to share
tell me about Columbus.
about
Yeah.
Jim, but we gotta shift gears here. Let's take a break. We'll come back and talk about that. I was excited to show off for the crew at Fox that was with us. We're gonna go into the Varsity Club for the live show. I was gonna
like right behind you. If you're looking at the set, if you're watching on YouTube, that's what you're expecting to be on the wall. Your jersey,
there's
sign,
there's a little picture of me and it's signed, and I wrote to Varsity Club, my favorite spot on campus or something, like the best spot on campus. And then I signed it and put number 34 as I do.
Yeah.
And they hung it up, and I knew where it was hanging. I was ready to like walk in and show the crew and be like, oh, what's this little thing? Oh, how about that? You know, I had this whole thing built in my head. Because it is right when you walk in. As soon as you walk in the door, it's like off to the side on the bar right there. What I thought was prime position, Tate. We walk in. They have now put like a little tree right in front of it. I kid you not. There is a tree that a potted plant of some sort.
What kind of tree is
that
it?
is now blooming, and you cannot see. You cannot see my setup
so
at all.
So it's basically a bush.
It's a big bush.
Yeah, they put a bush in front of you.
A bush has been planted in front of my. So it's like it's not even there. So I walk in, I see that, I'm like, vibes are off. Not loving it. But I'm not going to tell them to like move the bush. I'm like, that's the way it goes.
They also knew that you were coming, so that
yes.
they have decided to leave the bush there.
They probably put it there because they knew I was going. So then, fast forward to the showtime. We're doing a show at Varsity Club. Everyone at Fox is like, I'm sure all your people are gonna come. It's gonna be nuts. I can't imagine. Like they build up in my head where there's pressure on me. Where if this isn't like Woodstock type crowd, something's gone horribly wrong.
Yes.
Like I gotta get all the people there.
Yes.
We show up at like 3:00. The show is at 5 on a Friday because Varsity Club was. I believe they were like, get in and get out. So they wouldn't give us like prime time. So it's like 5 p.m. The 5 p.m. showtime. I get there at 3. The place is packed with Oregon fans, and they're all like sitting there, like waiting for they're just like, we're gonna stick around on the show. Yeah. There's a lady at Dos. One of the guys was like, I'm coming down to my hotel, and there's a lady that walks up to me. He's like, I work for Dos Equis. We're doing this live show. You guys should come to it. And he's telling me that. I'm like, why are we telling Oregon fans to go on a live show? What is going on? So Oregon fans like take all the tables, and I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah.
The vibes are off there. I'm getting to a point, I promise. Fast forward to Saturday. It's game day. We flushed it all. It's like we're gonna win the game. Like maybe there's some sliver of hope where all of this will come to a head, and like all the bad just set up to the good, Tate.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. You're like, I'm trudging along for at the end of this we leave with a W.
Yes. There's a nice.
In the words of Jameis Winston, we're gonna eat a W.
We're gonna eat a W.
Yes.
And it's all gonna be fine. That didn't happen in the first half, as we know. Ohio State did not play well in the first half. We soon found out they would not play well the whole game. But in the first half, it's not going well.
No, but when it's halftime, you can always say, hey, we're a second half team.
Second half team.
Yeah. So
right as the first half is winding down, I get invited up to a suite.
Oh.
We're just going to put it that way.
Yeah.
That there are via my connections with Ohio State, I get invited up to a suite. And I was like, well, I don't know if I can go up there because I have Charlotte with me. I have Jim with me. It's this whole deal. Should bring them both.
Wow.
Come on
+2.
up to the suite. And we've talked about this. Like we talked about this on a last week's show.
Lift while you climb.
Where you lift while you climb. The idea of being in the suite. The idea of bringing others into the suite. It's like the dream situation. So we get up to the suite.
It's good to put your people
on. Long story short, I don't know how to tell this without revealing too much about what all happened because we don't want to get into the weeds of it.
You guys okay?
Other than we get up to the suite, I get up there and I'm like, I'm just gonna do what I always do in these situations: stand off to the corner and not make a sound. And I'm just gonna sit there and like be what's the guy on Arrested Development that never wants to be seen, the Tony Hale's character, where he's like always hiding behind. Buster.
Yeah, Buster.
Right,
yeah,
isn't that one of the bits where he's like always hiding?
Yeah.
That's me in these suites.
Yeah.
I'm always like just kind of.
I thought it was the lawyer, detective, the private detective.
Oh,
I was like,
No, I'm always like, I'm definitely in the way. So, sorry.
Excuse me.
And we get up there, and the guy who invited me up is like, he goes, have whatever you want. And I was like, I'm good. I'm not hungry. I'm not thirsty. And then he like puts a gun to my head. He's like, I swear to God, you better eat. And I'm like, all right, I'll eat. So I grab a chicken finger and I grab a Diet Coke and I'm just sitting there eating a chicken finger, drinking a Diet. Jim's with me. He does the same, makes a nice little plate of food. Charlotte makes a plate of food. Everything's going well. Vibes are flowing. We're there at the start of the second half. Oregon rips off like a 77-yard touchdown run. Now, as this is happening, Charlotte like walks in front of some people in the suite and goes and like sits down in one of the chairs. They all have like nameplates. This suite probably holds like, I don't know, like 30 people in it, and there's like 10 there. So it's like pretty empty. I don't know where everyone else is. Maybe they're at the bathroom. Who knows? Maybe they're on where the hell's going on. But all the chairs have names on them, and it's pretty clear that they're like reserved. Charlotte must not have seen that, and she just like sits down and is just like, you know, Rick James just stomping on the couch.
Yeah.
But she chooses to do this at the worst time, as Oregon's ripping off like the guy is running at the 50-yard line, and there's like 4 Buckeyes running after him, like 10 yards behind him, and it's clear what's happening. And she's like, "Oop, excuse me, I'm gonna come through. I'm gonna sit right here." And she sits down, and it was just like horrible timing. And if you know anything about a place like Ohio State, which is it's probably true of like Carolina with basketball more so, but those people are the most irritable people on earth when things are not going well. For the
no, it's
team.
live or die. Yeah,
it's like.
If someone would call my house during a Carolina baseball, football, or basketball game, my parents would be like, my dad would answer and just say, "Are you crazy?" Basically, why would you ever call during a basketball game and then hang up on them? But be actually upset. You know what I mean?
If Jesus Christ came back as Carolina is losing to Duke in basketball, your dad would throw the remote and say, "Get out of here."
Get out of here.
So picture that sort of scene that Charlotte, what she did was innocent enough. It was the timing.
It's not, though.
The timing was brutal.
But, like, that's one of those things where it's like, you know, there's, like, social norms that, like, if you ever went to sports game or, like, if you ever went to a game in your life, you probably have, like, that understanding. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, like, I know what you're saying, but, like, especially with these die-hard teams like that, you know what I mean? Like these college teams. They're insane.
I think
it's
it was
like
that.
It's a lifestyle.
I think it was also week 1 in Madison. They rolled out the red carpet for us, and they're like, "Do whatever you want, touch whatever you want, eat what." We were just going around like, you know, all right, this is crazy. They let us on like a wagon. We're coming out with the team, and like it's a whole deal. I thought I was gonna like hold extra points at some point for Wisconsin, the access they were giving us. So I think there was like some small part of that where
it was like a rub off. I read the situation because I've been in Ohio State. I enrolled in 2006, Tate. I have been affiliated with the basketball program, the athletic department, whatever, at Ohio State for 15 years, and I have never once even so much as sniffed a suite at Ohio Stadium. I've been to 1,000 games. I've
never even really had good tickets at any of these games. Much less like been asked to come to suite, but. You know, fate was looking down on me, and I was like, this is a great moment. So anyway, Charlotte does that. As this happens, one of the women in the suite who I later found out it was her. She was married to the guy's suite. It was says to Charlotte, "That's not your seat." And Charlotte's like, "I'm sorry, excuse me," and she walks back over here. Then she follows Charlotte over to – Charlotte comes and sits back to where Jim and I are sitting. And she says to all of us, she's like, in fact, I think all of you aren't supposed to be here. And I was like, I know. I understand what it looks like. I understand. Because Jim – do we have a picture of Jim, by the way? Look at what Jim was wearing. Jim was wearing an Ohio State bandana. Like, picture the type of person that's got a suite at Ohio Stadium and how buttoned up they are. And Jim's rolling up like that.
Yeah, they got khaki pants on. Jim's got a bandana on.
So I'm flustered because they were like, "You're not supposed to be here," and it's kind of clear we're not. But I also don't know what to do, so I kind of play the "Do you know who I am" thing because I have no other play. I was like, "You're not wrong. We didn't set this up ahead of time. I was asked up here. I played basketball here. Maybe you've heard of me. I hope you've heard of me because if not." We're bad.
Screwed.
We're arrested. Something's bad's gonna happen. She had heard of me. She's like, I kind of know who you are, but who are these people? And I was like, well, you know,
they're like, you don't get +2s.
And I did my best to diffuse the situation, Tate, and like everything's fine. Jim's just sitting over there, just like staying out of the way too. Whatever. Charlotte kind of learned her lesson of like that experience, and she's kind of staying out of the way. And then Oregon basically like scores another touchdown or like something happens, like we turn it over, you know, punt, something happens to where there's like more irritable situation going on.
And everyone is very superstitious in these types of situations, so they assume that you're bringing the bad juju. At least if it were my family, we would have kicked you out.
Weirdly enough, I thought I was bringing the bad juju in the first half by being down on the field. So I thought if I go up to the suite, maybe this will help with the juju. It did not, because so something else bad happens. She like almost all in one motion takes it out on us and just turns and she's like, Mark, come here. And I was like, yeah. And I'm stupid enough to think she's gonna be like, I loved your book. Mark, just wanted. I've never had a chance to tell you.
I've been thinking about it. I actually do love your work.
So she's like, Mark, come here. And I was like, yeah, what's up? She's like, they can't be here. And I was like, what do you mean? She goes, you can't be here. And she points her finger in my face tape. And I was like, I'm now like super flustered. I'm like, I didn't want to be. I was asked to be.
Where's the husband? Where?
MIA. So all this is going down.
He fed you to the wolves.
He fed me to the wolves. She goes,
because it would have been him.
It would have been him.
He would have been the one getting yelled at.
This is the point.
He fed you to the wolves.
There were bad vibes. There were bad vibes the whole lead up.
Oh my God,
there were bad vibes. Suddenly there were good vibes. I was like, something good is happening. As it turns out, I was being fed to the wolves. I was Joe Pesci of Goodfellas walking into the room. I was like, wow, look at all this great food.
Yeah.
What a great view. So she's pointing a finger in my face, says, this is inappropriate. You don't belong here.
Yeah.
And then she points to Jim, and this is the whole point of telling you the story. And she goes, who's this guy? He's drunk.
And I wasn't drunk at all. I get thrown out for being drunk when I'm not drunk.
The one time in Jim Cunningham's life he's not drunk.
Seriously.
He's like, look, lady, I might be dressed drunk, but I am not drunk.
I know. I was minding my own business, like drinking a soda.
She
I know. I was
profiled
like thinking about 9/11, like zoned out, and she just yells, "Who is this drunk? Get him out of here!" I'm like, "What the?" Just like
Jim's father, who's FD&Y.
Stray shots just randomly.
Yeah,
just like an innocent bystander. Just get
Jim had been texting his family. Your dad is. All jokes aside, all seriousness, your dad was a firefighter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you were
in
actually
New York City.
9/11.
Yeah, on 9/11. You're like actually. You're
we were having a moment of silence, praying together over text, and this lady's like, "Look at that drunk guy. He's not even texting. He's having a moment of silence." And I was like, "Where are the brownies?" And then like,
you're like, "Can I get a chicken tender before I get out of here?"
Jim, you know Jim well. We've been out with Jim when he has been maybe
inebriated.
overserved.
but I don't even.
You don't even act.
You don't really act out. But
like 15, I'm
to my
fine.
point, like
No.
it wasn't like Jim was like being too friendly. It wasn't like Jim was sitting in seats.
No, he was out of the way.
He was
by myself.
He had literally
Like this.
Tate, if I was to set an
was like
over under
this.
at words that Jim said while he was in the suite, I would set it at like 1.5.
I think I said thank you. That's it.
Thank you.
He did not open his mouth. He was like his eyes were heavy because we had a long
Exhausted.
week of shooting stuff and traveling and like
Yeah.
And so finally, after a long week, Jim Cunningham finds himself in an air-conditioned room with a comfortable chair, and he's just sitting there with like his hands between his lap after he had eaten his chicken fingers,
Yeah.
or whatever he had.
Reflecting.
You're reflecting on 9/11.
Reflecting on, and his eyes are just slightly heavy.
Yeah.
And he gets a finger point
Shots
out because
fired.
this guy's drunk.
Get this drunk idiot out of here.
And I'm
just
doing
like,
my best to explain the whole situation.
Did you react? Did you give her like a
I
face?
think I
like,
just was like, what the?
you're like, did I just catch a stray from this lady?
I
Meanwhile,
know.
Fox wants Jim to, because like we're supposed to be doing like throughout the game, like Jim's supposed to kind of be filming me for social stuff
moments,
and Charlie. So ideally Jim and I kind of like stick together the whole time. So like part of me was like, how do I kick Jim? But then also I was like, I'm not going to kick Jim out because he's obviously not drunk. And also I need to be with him. So I was so flustered by the whole thing. I tried explaining it. She's like, I was like, he's not drunk. And he goes, I don't care what he is. She goes, he's your friend. He's your responsibility.
Get that mess out of here.
Get
Get this guy a wheelbarrow. Get him out of here.
Like an umpire.
And I'm like, you don't even have drinks in here. What's going on?
They didn't have
She
drinks?
was the belligerent one, which is the crazy part.
Well,
too.
of
She
course.
was
That's why
crazy.
you got the guy who owned the suite, the dad. Let's call him the dad.
Yeah.
Genius.
Yeah.
Because he
Diabolical.
knew he saw the vibes were off, and he was thinking, my wife is gonna lose her mind on me if we're losing this game. I need someone to get. He foisted you guys into a situation.
You know what else is hilarious? Mike Conley
Yeah.
there.
He was in the suite.
Yes, watching the whole thing.
And
That's
Mike's
who Titus
got
was
us
like, yeah,
talking
get him
to.
out of here. He's like, get that drunk guy out of here.
Mike's just looking. He's like, huh?
Yeah, he's like, I don't know them.
It's like, oh, hate to see it. All right, Mark, see you later, man.
I do not know that man.
It's like he keeps eating chicken dinner.
Like, bye, Mike.
Dude, it
What
was
was
the
this
most.
lady's name? Do you know her name?
Nah, I don't.
First
He
name.
knows.
I
He
later
knows.
found out who it was.
Yeah.
I later learned because I started asking around. I found out more about the guy. I found out
Yeah.
more about
So was the guy was a fan?
the guy was a fan of Mike way back when, and that's how he knew me. It was this weird connection of
So Mike,
Like most things in my
Mike was
life-
up there trying to make sure that he kept like the line of deviation between
Right.
you and him.
like most things in my life. I got into this situation because I knew Mike Conley or Greg Hood. That was basically it, and I knew that, and I was just sort of like, this is all weird. But
Where
but
was Greg during all this?
Who knows? I actually don't.
drunk.
Yeah, probably. Greg was in the corner just bonging beers.
She's like, Greg, you want another one? He's like, yes, ma'am. Yep.
It was the most, but the audacity, the whole scene, like it felt. I was trying to explain it to people that it felt like I was watching. You know how like you watch kids television shows or movies, the villains are always so straightforward because the kids can't understand nuance, and if you have like a villain who
Yeah.
has good intentions but like was sort of mean, it's a little too fuzzy. So you have to make the villain just be like Cruella DeVille. I want to kill puppies, and it's like, okay, I get that. I get why she's bad.
Yeah, she's bad.
That's how this felt. Like this was so
That was
brazenly.
like that lady.
Like,
exactly.
you don't belong here. Get this drunk. Like, I was
I
like,
know. I like looked up, and like chicken nuggets fall out of my mouth. I'm like, what? Like chocolate all over my face. Come on.
my God. So I was so flustered. I didn't know how to handle it. I thought about trying to put the fire out. I thought about turning to Mike and be like, Mike, help me out. But I feel like I used all of those cards.
Yeah,
way back.
I
in,
don't.
like-
I don't.
I feel like I ran out of like, Mike, help me out. I feel like that
I think
was
Mike was like, all right, R.I.P.
somewhere around 2008. I ran out of those plays.
Yeah.
So I was just, I
He's
just looked
staring
at
at you.
Jim. I looked at Charlotte's like having a great time, just like crossing her arms, like watching the football game, and I
in
was
front of people just
Yeah.
blocking their view. Totally. She has no idea that we're getting like called names and shit.
She's like, oh my god, this is so awesome, Mark.
I was just sitting in the back by myself.
Charlotte's
I
eating
was,
off
like,
Mike's
next to the
plate.
microwave.
Mike's got food, and Charlotte's just picking
Yeah, she's
food
like,
off the
"Can I
plate.
have
She's like,
a fry?"
ooh, that looks good. I want to try it. So I grabbed Charlotte. I tapped Charlotte
Oh,
on the
man.
shoulder. I tell Jim, I was like, we got to get out of here. And the
Man, I want
I
this lady
can't
on
walk.
the show.
I should
want
have
the-
played it up.
I
on the
want.
way out.
I want the couple on the show.
it was UCLA. It was the UCLA lady.
lady, yeah.
From when we went to the UCLA basketball game. It was like that lady had like put on Ohio State stuff and was now in the suite. But I guess that's a lesson, is that these people are everywhere. That's
No, it's also like when you're losing, you're
Mm-hmm.
you're upset, like you said, and you're trying to find like the outlet to turn on.
Yeah.
Everyone is, every fan. You know what I mean? And usually it's like your spouse or like, usually it's someone in close proximity, which the dad obviously knew. And he said, I got Mike's friend over
the dad
here.
probably hated me. The dad was probably like, I always hated that this guy didn't take it seriously that he was
Yeah.
on the team.
Yeah.
I'm
He's like,
finally
he's
gonna get
gonna
my
learn a
revenge.
lesson
He's gonna
today.
learn a lesson today.
And
I'm
you were
gonna
like,
throw-
can I bring two of my friends? He's like, the more the merrier. He's like, yeah,
Get
bring
that
them
wino
here.
up there.
So my wife's gonna have a field day today. He's like, Karen, have fun, sweetie. I'm gonna go get a drink.
I wonder if he
Doesn't
texted her
introduce
too.
you guys,
like,
so she
get
thinks
them
that you're
out.
strangers.
yeah, it doesn't.
It was really uncomfortable.
Oh,
we were
that's awesome.
obliterated.
Yeah. So we leave. The door's not even closed to the suite, and Jim's already like, "Once that bitch is probably like whatever." It's just,
Well, that's a valid question. What the hell was that?
She's
I
like,
was
she's
trying
like, tell
to-
that drunk guy to shut up.
I was trying to mourn. Eat some freaking cotton candy. Leave me alone.
God.
and we go down. We go down back to the concourse level.
I think I would have left the game.
That's funny you say that
Well,
because
yeah.
we had field passes, so we all three go back down. Charlotte is like, Charlotte goes, turns to me and she's like, the Fox people say we're gonna get on TV if you want to go back down to the field. They're gonna cut to us on TV. And if you were watching the game, there's a point where it cuts to Charlotte Wilder, host of the Dos Equis Ultimate College Football Road Trip, and she's waving and does OHI. Noticeably absent was me. And the reason I was noticeably absent is because we walked back down. At this point, all the commotion that's happened in the suite, I've kind of lost time and score.
Yeah.
Like I assume we're losing. I assume it's late in the. I don't know what's going. I look up and Ohio. It was the sequence when Ohio State. I think it was 4th down, and we threw a pass to the end zone, and it was incomplete.
Yeah.
And we turned it over on downs right there. And we were down like 14 at the time, and it was like 6 minutes left in the 3rd quarter or something. That happens, and I'm just running through my head. I'm like, Buckeyes playing like ass. I've had bad vibes this whole trip.
Yeah.
I'm doing this. Just happened. I'm reeling from that. Jim's just like walking around, just like
disheveled.
Yeah, disheveled.
But also thinking about morning.
Yeah, Jim's like, if you think I'm drunk, I'm gonna go get drunk. Like, how do
it's like I gotta live up to who they think I am.
I'm worried. Yeah, and I'm just looking around at the situation, and then I tried to distract myself, so I pull out my phone, and I think like maybe I can like look at something else going on.
Don't get on Twitter, no.
So I pull out my phone. I'm like checking other scores. I'm checking Twitter. See, like surely there's something else going on that can distract me. My entire mentions is Ohio State fans saying, "Titus, you're a curse.
Yes.
Please leave."
Yes.
One after another. Leave. It's our only chance. You have to leave. Please leave. Please leave. So I was like, I'm leaving.
And then that lady came out of nowhere. And she's like, "What are you doing here still?" And she started spraying us with like a water bottle. Like a little pet.
Like a dog.
Yeah.
So
shooing us with a little broom.
I walked. I was staying at the Graduate in the Short North, close to downtown. I walked from just to decompress.
By yourself?
By myself. I walked from the Horseshoe all the way back to the hotel. It is not a short walk.
No.
And by the time
I know that.
By the time I get back to the hotel, Tate, it's become a ball game ish.
Yeah.
And Ohio State has the ball, the whole time, like, people are texting me like crazy because, like, good and bad. They're like, "Oh, Buckeyes look like shit." Oh, other kind, you know.
Oh, yeah,
and like, so I'm kind of like sort of following, and I'm walking down the street of High Streets where all the bars are.
Yep.
And I'm walking down, and every so often you hear like one of the bars cheer or not cheer, you know. And I'm like,
the oohs and the ahs.
Like maybe we're in it, or maybe they're just cheering because they saw Charlotte get on TV again. I don't. Who knows what they're cheering about? I finally make it back to the hotel, and I think my mom or someone had texted me like, "Buckeyes aren't dead yet" or something.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'll turn it on. I turn it on. Stroud throws an interception.
The Titus curse.
CJ Stroud
What is happening?
throws the interception right away, and I was like, I'll be damned. So they made that entire comeback as I was walking. They got back into the game as I was walking from the stadium.
I think you were thinking about it. I think you convinced yourself you were the curse, so therefore you became the curse. You know what I mean? Kind of like what you said about the bad vibes. Once you convince yourself that there were bad vibes, then there were bad vibes.
Dude, the worst vibes of all, the band kid that fell on the. You saw that? The band kid running out.
So I didn't watch the game. There's Jim again.
Whoa.
There's drunk Jim.
Jim took this video.
Yeah. So this is.
We were standing right here as this happened. I'm standing next to Jim. He's all over the place because he's drunk with the video. If you're watching,
Oh my God.
You could.
God, never mind. I'm with the lady now.
After I see
this video, I'm
actually.
like, oh wow, Jim.
Jim, what the hell is
Jim
this?
was hammered.
Here we go. Here we go.
Pull.
There
you stop. Whatever. Point is, everyone's solid. Everyone.
It was an earthquake during that.
Yeah. I mean,
that kid though.
Yes, the drum major.
It's not just that the drum major fell, Tate. It was that. What was it? 2 days before on Thursday. We went to band practice, and I talked to that kid, and that kid, like, legitimately knew who I was, and he was, like, excited to meet me, and he was like, "Dude, I read your book, man. It was so funny." And, like, and then that kid's friend shows up to band practice because he knew I was there, and the kid, his friend was giving me a T-shirt and, like, being like, we love you know, and I was like, tight, man. So I'm getting, like, real comfortable. There it is.
Oh, my God.
Eating shit. I'm getting real comfortable with this kid, and then we start interviewing him. And I just started throwing out all these ideas about him messing up because I just thought
he never thought that this would be what it came to as he's doing this interview with you. He was like, I wouldn't be on Titus and Tate.
Time in 2 years.
It's not just that it happened.
650 days.
Tate, it's not just that it happened. It's that I introduced this idea to him by, like, when I was talking to him, I was like, because you're watching these band practice, they are so regimented and so, like, if they had, like, 2 tanks walking next to them, you would think it's, like, North Korea footage. Like, the way
yeah.
They're just so, like, militaristic about where, and it's so impressive how good they are. So my dumb brain, I'm just like, what if they weren't like that? What if they screwed up somehow? What if who would it fall on? And I was like, it'd probably be that guy. So as I'm interviewing him, I'm like, what have you thought about when you're doing Script Ohio, just like running around and like throwing the baton, like, and you could go viral? That would be sick. Like I'm like saying all this shit to him. I'm like, what if you what if you did this, or this, and it was chaos? And he's like, nah, that's funny, but I'm gonna stick.
I would never ask for something like that. I would never want to go viral.
2 days later, this is the first moment he comes onto the field.
After the interview, yeah.
This is his first. He hasn't even stepped foot on the field yet. This is him.
Does he always run? Does he always run out of the tunnel? Because it did feel like it seemed like it was just too much for him.
That is the move. The band comes down the ramp. They all like spread out and get in their position, and then they all stand there and march in place, and they're waiting for the drum major to run down the tunnel, and then he runs into the front of them, and then he leads them on a march down the field. That's how it works.
Yeah.
So he always run. So the drum major had not even stepped foot on the field to start the season, because this is the first home game too.
Yeah.
So the drum major this season had not even set foot on the field, and he wipes out, and not only wipes out Tate, Jim and I are standing 10 yards away from him as he does it.
And he had to get scraped up. I mean, it's concrete that he fell on. I mean, he fell head first. So the only thing I saw of the game, right? I was not watching the football game. I was, all around the place. But all I saw was on Twitter was him do that, and then I hadn't looked at the score or anything, and I was like, "That's a bad omen." You know what I mean? That's the only thing I said. I saw him fall down. I was like, "That's weird."
You were correct.
Like, you know what I mean? I didn't know you had interviewed him. This is all like, this is just watching from afar. I was like, that's not good news for anyway. Because like if that happened to Carolina, I'm like, we're losing today. You know what I mean? There's just like I'm that superstitious. So that was shocking.
That was
the
my
fact
weekend.
That you talked to this man and then this happened.
That was my whole weekend though. Like all that stuff leading up to that. And
Lincoln
then that
Riley,
happens.
please.
And then for a moment in time, Tate, we get invited to this suite, only for Jim Cunningham to get a finger in his face and say,
"The Cruella of Columbus, Ohio."
Unreal.
I want to have the dad on the show.
Yeah, that guy was a genius. If the band had all just saw him fall and put all their instruments down and were like, we can't do it.
Yeah.
Would
yeah,
that
we
be a
will,
better
we will not
omen?
play for him.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, we won't play.
You know?
Yeah. Make
like,
him
not
run
my
again.
coach.
Yeah, that's not my major.
That would reverse
Get the drum
the
minor in
What's
here.
your major? What's your major? Drum.
Oh man. Did you like Columbus though?
Yeah, it was great. Good
Otherwise-
vibes.
Good vibes.
Hospitable. People couldn't be friendlier.
Get this drunk out of my
Yeah,
suite.
they're like, that drunk guy over there. And I'm like tearing up. Like,
You taking a knee, crying, thinking
Yeah.
about the fallen ones.
yeah, I'm
my
literally,
God.
I'm saying the rosary in my hands. God.
Good people.
I know.
Oh,
And she
fun
walked
time.
over, just flipped my table over. Like,
Smack
get out
you in
of
the
here.
face.
It was the what's the meme of the housewife
call me
that's
a-
yelling at the cat?
Do you?
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
She's screaming, and then there's
Do
the
you
cuts
think
to the
that
cat.
any
That
of
was
this
it.
does it happen if Charlotte doesn't sit down in the seat?
This is what I don't want to point fingers at Charlotte.
Yeah.
No.
You don't think
But
so?
I
See,
don't
think
think
it's still possible. I think she was ready.
I
to,
think it is
Yeah.
because I do think that it was a marriage of the two.
I think she wanted to have a reason to yell at you guys.
it was a powder keg, and
Yeah.
Charlotte was the spark.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, yeah. Because I
And I was the keg.
yeah.
yeah, you were
He was tapping the
You
keg.
drank all the cake. Guy's hammered. Eating
Yeah,
chocolate.
Booze bag.
But that's how Ohio is, and I realized it in myself as I was walking from the stadium back to the hotel, that I was like, you're obviously in a bad mood because your team loses, but
Yeah.
you're in like you become like a bad person. You
Yeah.
like legit, like if I saw grandma like walking on the street, I just would like pushed her out of the way as I was walking back like, not now, lady, get out of my, like as we said with your dad watching it dawned on me that this happens to me, it happens to every Ohio State fan.
Yeah.
That I think that's what it was. I think
But
it's
the
like
people
the
around
timing
you,
of it was
the people
horrible.
around you usually like are in the same sphere or understand that. Like I was saying, like the social norm of that. So like I know when North Carolina loses, I'm not gonna call home immediately and like try to talk to my dad about it. You know what I mean? It's like give like a 30-minute decompression period, then I'll call in and we'll check in and we'll see what's up. You know what I mean? But like if you're just in the heat of the moment, it's not your school.
you don't. It's not your school. You don't
know what I
really
mean?
understand,
Yeah.
And also, like Mike, if we're being honest, I could have used a little more intensity from Mike as the touchdowns
He
happened.
coulda helped.
Because Mike's the nicest guy in the world. That Mike is also like he loves Ohio State.
Yeah.
I've watched football games with him many times, and he gets into it and loves him. But at the same time, publicly, if we're losing by 14, Mike will just be a guy that's like, that's tough, and that's about it. That's the reaction.
Yeah,
He just kind of
yeah.
shrugs his shoulders. He's like, man, that's tough. And he goes like, because he's Mike Conley, and he's gonna make $400 million
Yeah, he's okay.
this year.
Yeah,
He's
he's
like-
okay. He's like, I'm gonna go count my money.
I have nothing else in my life but Buckeyes football. God damn it!
I do think Mike could have helped. I don't want to put it on Mike. I don't want to put it on Charlotte. I don't want to put it on Mike, but I think Mike could have helped. Based on what I've heard, so I mean, how does he not step in and at least be like, "Hey, Mark's a good guy."
You know, I
The
asked
lady
that
did
guy's not
care.
drunk.
She probably
the
would've
lady.
thrown
The
Mike
lady
out. She
turns to
was
Mike.
on a warpath.
The lady turns to Mike and says, "Do you know these people?"
Could you
And he
imagine if
says-
you threw Mike Conley out? It's like, oh,
She may have. Yeah, she's like, you make eye contact?
it's like a MLB umpire. You know what I mean? It's like someone else says something. He's like, oh yeah, you too. You're out.
Yeah.
No, you're out of here.
Yeah. Leslie Nielsen in a Naked Gun as the ump. Just like going off. I mean, the term power trip
Yeah, yeah.
is used sometimes. That lady was
That was more
That
than
was
a power.
crazy.
She
she turned into like
man.
the Incredible Hulk. Or
Let-
something. It was
that was
nuts.
a-
Her
let-
eyes
Was she
like
big?
turned. Her eyes turned
like
red.
she's like a tall lady. Like what? Like did she have any distinct qualities? Like is
Yeah,
there,
I mean, it wasn't.
like,
it
She was
wasn't.
about 10 feet tall.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
mean
was
that's what it
scared the hell
sounds
out
like.
of
Yeah.
It sounds like it.
It was a let them eat cake moment, and then Jim was like, "I'm trying to just sit here and eat cake."
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I was like, do you have any coffee? And she's like, get out.
He's like, yeah, of course the drunk asshole wants
Yeah.
coffee.
Yeah, Irish coffee. Screaming.
Oh, well, I'm glad you guys
so
survived.
Columbus, Ohio.
Man. It was
You guys
nice.
took it on the chin.
It was cool.
I wish
There you
Kyle
go.
Crichton was there for that whole moment.
Kyle wouldn't have left.
Well,
Kyle would have started
would've been
lighting
drunk,
up.
you know
Kyle
what I
would have
mean?
been smoking cigarettes. And
Yeah.
He would have puking like over on the
That's
side.
what I thought the story
Kyle
was going to
would've been
be.
actually
I
drunk,
thought
yeah.
you guys were going to be in the suite and that, in the outside area where the seats are, Jim was smoking a cigarette. And
Yeah,
then, like,
no.
someone was like,
no,
I have sweet etiquette. I am.
that's what that. But that's what makes it
skybox
so.
bread.
Yeah.
Yes,
Born.
that's
I know how it works. I was up there. I'm eating my food. I didn't even attempt to look at the field, dude. Seriously.
he's like, keep your head down.
No, I couldn't see the field.
No, we
'cause
could.
the
He's
seats
not
were-
kidding.
The
They had
seats were
the-
up in the place. So like,
Yeah.
Mike was like up there and everything, and I was like, I'm just gonna sit right here by myself, just like this.
We were in
And
the
just some
section
lady
behind the
just, is
seats.
just
yeah.
like you. And I'm like,
I blame the bandana.
it was like
too.
in school if someone throws something like at the teacher, and then
Yeah.
they turn around and they think
They
it's
just
you
see
or
you,
something.
yeah.
She just like randomly called me out.
Yeah.
That's what made it
It's
so
very
funny. is
everybody hates Chris moment. Yeah.
The one time that Jim, the whole morning, Jim wanted to tailgate, and we had responsibilities with Fox. We had to do stuff. I mean, who doesn't want to tailgate? But
Yeah.
I'm saying like
We wanted to see some, yeah.
if we weren't working,
Right.
under any other circumstance, like you want to be drunk. Like you're at
Yeah,
a football game.
you're
like
at a
trying
football
to,
game.
And that's what made it so funny. It was like Jim sitting there, like
Not
I
me.
want nothing more in this world than to have had a few beers out in the parking lot before the game, and
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah.
And
No, he's like,
now-
I'm working.
and now, yeah, I'm working,
I'm
and
literally
now
working.
I'm kicked out.
And now I'm getting grouped in with the
Yeah.
drunks.
I'm working on these
Oh.
sliders right now, lady. Leave me alone.
Damn it.
So next
All right,
week in
that's
Norman,
it.
Oklahoma.
Norman, Oklahoma.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
if
yeah.
you own a suite in Oklahoma, invite us up. We'll gladly.
Yeah.
I'm Lincoln Riley.
Buy me a
He's
beer.
got to get a win for you. I mean, Nebraska,
Right,
they can't
yeah.
lose to Nebraska.
I'm gonna get
I'm gonna
the,
knock on wood.
I need to figure out what I'm gonna wear. I want to get the Lee Corso Sooners
Yeah.
wagon and wear that hat. I don't know.
Yeah.
It feels a
You
little.
got to get on the wagon.
I should.
There's a lot of wagons
That
in
lady
college
yelled.
sports. That's what I'm wearing.
That lady yelled I had to get on the wagon at some point, screaming.
Look who's back on the wagon. There's-
Yeah,
Oh
or is
my
it off
God.
the wagon?
I never
I don't know.
No,
Whatever.
when you're on the wagon, you're drinking. When you're off the wagon, you're not drinking.
No.
I had
Or
another.
is it the
this
other
is the
way?
other way around.
It's kind of like
I think
uphill.
on the
Like everything's
wagon is
uphill
sober.
from now instead of everything's down. You know what I
It's
mean? It's kind of like I don't know.
Flammable and inflammable are the same. It's confusing.
I think when you're off the wagon, you're drunk, and when you're on the wagon,
yeah, I
you're on
think
the straight
so
and
too.
narrow.
Yeah, she was yelling, "Get
What
on the
about off-
wagon!"
Get on the wagon.
What about
Yeah.
something's off the
She
chain and
said
on the
that?
chain?
Yeah, she was screaming that at me.
What a maniac!
You
She's
don't
like,
belong
you boxcar hobo, get out of here.
here. You don't belong
Like
here.
you said, when you're a fan, you can turn into a bad person. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So maybe that this was her
Yeah.
one reprieve.
No, I was so pissed. I took my jug with the little 4 X's on it, and I just walked out of there. I was like, I'm out of here. My moonshine.
And you let out a big belch.
I know.
walked out.
I stood up, my pants
Oh,
were
you don't like
pissed.
me? I'll just get out.
Yeah, I stood up with my pissed pants, and I marched out of there with my head held high. My dignity.
Oh damn! it.
Speaking of, actually, I have another old lady story real quick. I didn't get to tell you guys that. On my flight home yesterday,
Oh God.
Yeah.
very rarely do I let a person in the row behind me try to get off the plane before me.
Yeah, same. I
Somebody
box 'em
tried to
out.
do that actually leaving Wisconsin, and I forgot I was on a smaller plane, and when I stood up to like block them, I almost paralyzed myself. So seriously, my sister picked me up at the airport, and I'm just like, oh my
You almost
god.
goosed yourself.
I'm like, oh my god, yeah. No, so anyway, this little old lady's like, can I go first? And I was like, fine. We're in like row 23, and I'm about to get my stuff. My backpack's so heavy, my carry-on's so heavy. And right as she steps in front of me in the aisle, someone's like, oh no. And she's like, oh no. And everyone's like, are you okay? And I'm like, what is going on? Because I'm like holding my carry-on, trying not to kill this lady and everything. Accident. All over the aisles, from row 23 all the way to the front of the plane, right in front of me. I was the one person behind her.
What was the accident?
Number 2, irregular.
From the lady?
Mm-hmm. That I let go in front of me. Never again am I letting anyone go in front of me. I'm never doing anything nice to anyone again.
An old lady shit her pants on the plane as you were getting off?
All over the floor, like out of the bottom of her pants.
Was it the lady from the
Oops,
suite?
I crapped my pants, basically. What, from the suite?
Suite. She
Yeah.
turned
I'm
around,
Like,
she
who's
said,
drunk
you
now?
had- so you had to
Yeah,
walk-
she
you had-
blamed me.
Wait, so
You
you,
don't belong
you
here.
had to all walk through her. You had to walk. through
I
that.
walked around it. I was like
Tate,
trying to.
this
you
man,
know,
I'm
it was
telling you.
There's
crazy,
no
dude.
one that
It was
flies like
crazy,
this
dude.
man.
I
It
was going to say, I
crazy.
swear to God, every
Nobody.
flight he goes on. We were on the
I
same
watch movies. You know what I mean? Like I have normal
Dude,
flights.
we were on the same flight to Madison, the exact same flight with both legs. It's not a straight flight. You have to get where we go, Chicago, and then we went to Madison. Both flights, he had a story for me, and I was 6 rows ahead of him.
What-
And
was
he
there,
turned
like,
around, he's
fights
like,
breaking
Was it
out
a
in my
lady
area?
like peeling eggs or something?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hard-boiled eggs.
Yeah,
Killing
oh my
right
God.
next to me. I
Yeah,
was about
it's
to kill that
disgusting.
like,
lady.
did you hear that fist fight? And I'm like, I was 6 rows ahead of you. How did
there
I?
wa-
What,
there
what is
was-
going on back
was
there?
like there was an argument.
What are you talking about?
I'm like passenger 57.
I do think that he's like the instigator. You know what I mean? There should be a show like
Yeah.
about the instigator where you say
Whispering
you
things
say
in
the one
people's
thing
ears.
where someone's like, "Who wants to say something?" You're like, "Eat, bitch."
Yeah.
Like,
I throw my voice like a ventriloquist guy. Like, shut up.
I think that's what's happening.
Oh man, let's get the hell out of here.
Yeah,
Let's wrap this
please.
show up.
Yeah,
I'm
good
so
show.
God,
drunk.
What else do we have to talk about?
I mean, I don't even think I have anything other than we have to pay homage to Coach K, as
Yeah.
always. Thank you, Coach K. One last ride.
One last favor for his player, Paolo Banchero.
Yes.
Signing the 2K deal.
NIL deal. He will be in the game 2K.
I don't think K likes that actually,
Probably not.
because that's yeah.
I think that this season, one thing I wanted to say, we need to do an update like of the number one players, you know, because Chet Holmgren with Gonzaga, he was the number one player. Amani Bates was the number one player. Paolo Banchero was the number one player. So we just need to, throughout the season, Peyton Watson was our number one player. So we'll do like our rankings of the number one players, you know what I mean? So we'll see like where they actually rank amongst the number ones because they can't all be number one. So
Yeah.
Paolo Banchero is winning this war right now. He
Yeah.
is in 2K. But that's my
I
only
think
shout out.
Peyton Watson is our number one, right?
He's
Yeah,
definitely
he's
number one.
one.
Yeah. UCLA is my team.
He just had a birthday, Peyton Watson. I saw.
19.
Yeah. Turned
5
19.
star.
5 stars.
I just responded to him 5 stars.
5 stars, baby.
That's all
Let's
it is.
go. Let's go. 8 clap, 5
Johnny
star.
Juzang, we're gonna get on the show. By the way, we're gonna get Johnny.
Let's do it.
We have to get Johnny.
Johnny, come on the
We're
show.
getting close, like to the lead up.
We
to
can
the
get Johnny
season.
in studio, right? Tell him to come over.
Yeah,
Just hang.
Fox lot
Yeah.
What does
Fox lot,
Coach
Johnny.
Cal think of Johnny Juicing?
Oh, it's his guy.
loves him.
Oh.
Yeah, he
There's
did
Cal.
the same thing with Charles Matthews when
Yeah.
Charles Matthews was going to the title game.
He
in
actually
2018,
knew he
and
needed to
was-
go to UCLA to get more PT.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was actually Coach Cal's decision.
Did he
That
wink
wasn't
at him
Johnny's.
as he walked out the door?
Yeah. I talked to Coach Cal this weekend, by the way.
Oh,
What?
really?
Yeah, he's a
He
5-star
buried in the
alum.
lead, dude.
Yeah. Nah, man, all
Was
that's
he
off the
cool?
record.
Oh,
When he
all
shook
that-
your
all
hand,
that
did he
stuff.
give you like $100 bill? Or anything?
Yikes! What the hell did he say to you? That it's off the record.
Pinky
Nothing's
ring?
off the record with
No,
this
man.
guy. No,
It's
it's
like
like tight lips.
basketball Illuminati. You know what I mean? I was like, oh my god.
Tight lip Tate over
I
here.
was like, I can't believe this.
Oh my god.
Yeah, the only thing I wanted to share was that Ray Allen's a part of the Miami Heat.
Yeah.
That was the big scoop, you know? I don't think
Yeah.
anyone has that yet.
Did you
Put
get in
that
a
out there.
suite?
Huh?
Did you get in a suite?
No.
Yeah.
God, no.
Speaking of women who are overstepping their bounds, and I want to call out. This is a call out. This is not a
Oh,
shout
wow.
out. This is a very personal call out. I'm on the phone with my mom, who I was calling her on the drive into the lot. She tells me I asked her what she was up to today. She said that she was at a Hendricks County Retired Teachers Association
Tight.
conference, which like what? So all the teachers that no longer teach in the county get together and just
talk about
talk about-
what we used to do.
yeah, what we used to do. And she ran into one of my old teachers.
Moby Jack.
We'll be back. We're coming.
She ran into one of my old teachers, Mrs. Loftmiller, and apparently Mrs. Loftmiller was not kind to my mom. And I just wanted to call out Mrs. Loftmiller, the kid killer. Mrs. Loftmiller, the kid killer. When my mom, she's like, do you remember Mrs. Loftmiller? I was like, yeah, the kid killer.
Oh,
She was
my
like,
God.
well, I ran into her, and I was like, I think you had one of my kids. And then Mrs. Loftmiller apparently goes, I had a lot of kids. I taught over 5,000 kids in my career.
Good
My mom's
answer.
like, you dumb bitch. I had a career too. Like
Yeah.
my mom didn't. My mom's yelling at me right now. She's like, I would never say that. Are you
Mark, I
kidding?
did not say that.
No, but that's what I wanted her to say. I'd be like, yeah, duh, I had a bunch of kids too. Like, what are you talking about? We're all teachers. Look where you're at.
Her
lady.
nickname was Loftmiller, the kid killer.
So I wanted to call her out. Anyone listening, just in case someone is listening in Danville, Indiana, where I grew up before I moved to Brownsburg. Mrs. Loftmiller, I don't forget. You've made an enemy out of me. I hated your stupid class. I hated your stupid apples.
What class did she teach?
She
by the
taught
way?
like was it?
She's like 4th grade, 5th grade.
It might have been English.
Oh.
Yeah, and
How old
it
is
was
she?
5th grade. No, 4th grade.
Fourth
grade.
Oh, important.
Was she on
year.
my flight? Was that lady?
was
How
her.
old is this lady?
No, I think it was the lady.
I hate
in
your
the box.
stupid. She had perfect cursive. She would always like write her name on the chalkboard in perfect cursive. I hated that. I hated your stupid apples all over
How
your
do you
classroom.
spell Loftmiller? L-O-F.
Lough-Miller. So not only am I not scared of this getting back to Mrs. Loftmiller, I want this to get back to Mrs. Loftmiller. I hope you hear this. Fix your attitude. Fix your attitude.
Yeah.
From a student.
Pay your respects
Yes.
to Laura Legend.
I want to, and I also want to go on record and thank every other teacher I had in my life that got me to where I am today,
Except for
Mrs. Loftmiller.
Yes, thank you. I think that's a good point to make. Make sure that different.
Except for
put
you.
it on the tombstone. I would
Don't
be
you
nothing
dare.
without all of my teachers.
Don't you dare.
Parentheses except for Ms. Loftmiller.
Don't you dare disrespect my mother.
Ever.
Ever again.
Ever.
So,
Laura Legend.
So there's one shout out for me. Next on the list.
I love that you just called out a retired
My
teacher.
Yeah,
It's
how
like-
old is she now? Is she like 95?
Dude, she was old as shit back in the day. I don't know how old
Teachers
she always
are-
smelled too, dude. She had that like teacher smell where it's like we get it. Like,
See, but you and I both had moms as teachers, but like they were also like they were half teacher, half mom. You know what I
Yes.
mean? And so like they're a different being than just like teacher. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And like those teachers, they actually have eyes in the back of their heads. You know what I mean? It's like a different kind of.
Miss Trunchbull
Yeah.
is what she was.
Yeah,
she was
yeah.
She was half teacher, half kid killer. So Mrs. Loftmiller, the kid killer.
Oh, we're close to
Um,
Halloween.
Fix your
That's a Nickelodeon show. Are you afraid of the dark, Miss Loftmiller?
The only other shout outs I had, Mark Vidal signed with the Chiefs, practice squad.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't see that. That's cool.
That's happening.
Baylor, baby.
So that's pretty exciting.
Football school.
And then Matt Norlander might be Jesus because I saw that he tweeted that a Big East source told him, quote, "You will walk on water before the Big East presidents invite Memphis to join the league." So either Memphis is never going to join the Big East, or Matt Norlander
Is Jesus.
might be the Messiah. I don't know. We'll see.
We should get Norlander to like we should get like a glass plexiglass thing, you know, with water
Just
on
have him
top of
walk
it and
on
have
it.
him walk on it when Memphis gets in.
Chris Angel did it, dude.
Yeah.
Chris Angel did it all the time on A&E.
Yeah, we can do that, right?
He could do
Jim?
anything,
We have a
though.
budget. We have a budget for that. We could do
Yes.
that. Perfect.
All right, that's it. What a fun show. This was
Yeah,
a
I
great
mean,
show.
what
I
a
had good
ridiculous
time.
show. What a ridiculous show. But I hope everyone enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I learned a lot. I think Jim learned his lesson.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Drink? You're gonna get blamed for being sober?
Reflect on your own time, says that lady
No,
from the
that
box.
was ridiculous. I think that was racist or something.
Racist against drunks.
I don't know.
It was
I'm
profiling.
Irish.
It was
Yeah, you're
profiling.
right. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
It
The
is
hell?
profiling. Yeah.
I mean, an Irishman with a bandana on, with sunglasses on. I mean, I think he's drunk too.
I also had a baseball hat on sideways on top of the bandana.
He's like, and then you got
I think
Vanilla
I
Ice
did.
over here.
I think I may have.
And a Greg Oden football jersey.
Yeah, that's hard.
Yep.
I want that jersey. I
It's
want that
Keller's.
jersey. Oh
Well,
my
it's
God.
mine now.
If you want to meet the
Shout out to
man
Kelly.
who was drunk in the suite, or myself, or Charlotte
Get
Wilder,
us drunk.
we're gonna
Nope.
be in Norman, Oklahoma. So all of you Sooners listening, we'll be there this weekend. We're gonna do another show on Friday.
Yeah,
obviously, but,
yeah.
we're doing a live show on Friday, and we will be at the game Saturday. And invite us to your luxury box. so we
Lincoln
can,
Riley, get the
yeah.
W. Come on.
That's
Come on,
it.
coach.
All right. See you guys Friday.